No one can hear me. I had this big monologue because I muted myself like a real idiot. Welcome to Marvel and Star Wars episode, I believe, 4. I know people are laughing behind the scenes. Just laugh. It's okay. It's okay. I don't care. I'm super excited. We have, I can't wait to unveil everyone. We got lots of sexiness on the show today, especially because Ryfan's got a new shirt. I can't wait to show everyone. He's super sexy. Can't wait. But yeah, we have a lot of great stuff to talk about today. We've got Darth Vader, the OG Marvel series. Obviously, Darth Vader had many different series back in Dark Horse comic books, but today we're going over the Kieran Gillen and Salvador LaRocca, I believe. Again, terrible with names. The artist. Lots to discuss. I can't wait to get into this. This is going to be really exciting. We read all of the run of, at least I did. I'm not sure the other guys did. I'm pretty sure they did. But I can't wait to talk about it. So I can't wait to get into it. So today, joined today with Mr. Ryfan, other statesman. Got you. I got you.
Again.
Got you. Got you. Look at that sexy shirt. God, so sexy.
Another Roosevelt. I tell my wife, my goal is I want to be able to have enough to do a couple of weeks of work and just go to work every day with a nice button-up, ridiculously obnoxious Star Wars Roosevelts or Columbia, and be able to get through 2 weeks without repeating. So
you're on your way.
I'll be at 7. Yeah,
you're on your way. Well, and this is not when I say this is not a slight at the shirt, because I love the shirt. A friend of mine had a shirt kind of like that, of an old bed sheet that his dad had made into a shirt.
That's the pattern. That's the pattern.
That's exactly what I had, and I was stupid in high school and gave it away because he gave it to me, and I gave it away like a real idiot.
You know, it's funny you say that. You know, I just had a moment a couple of weeks ago.
I love moments.
The old Dinner for Geeks lineup. Jeff from Dinner for Geeks. Turned 50 a couple of weeks ago.
Big 5-0.
Yeah, and years ago, I was at a garage sale at his house. He grew up across the street from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I was probably early in college, and his mom had a garage sale, and I went over there, and she was selling his Return of the Jedi blanket for $25. And I was like, okay. I bought it for $25. I was like, Jeff, look what your mom sold.
Oh no.
And he was just like, what? He didn't know. Yeah. And so I had it all this time. And in fact, we had a Star Wars trivia night one time and invited him over, and I used it as the tablecloth, it didn't set well with him at all. So for his birthday, I gave him his blanket back, among other things. But
that's really sweet. That's awesome.
Went home, and I told him if his mom sold it again, that was it.
I still have my Return of the Jedi sleeping bag, which I love.
I've got my sheets still. The sheets go with. I mean, they match the blanket that I had, which I thought was great. But
but not Well, that ship has sailed now that you give it back to him.
Well, I did though claim right of first refusal.
That's fair.
The day comes that you decide to get rid of it, I should get the offer first. So.
It's only fair. It's only fair.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chris Carey,
what's going on?
Hello, man. Hey, congrats on the new job. I meant to say that before with the show.
Thank you, man.
New job.
Yeah, you got a new job. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say or what it is or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm officially part of the deep state.
I was going to say, are you CIA now or what's?
I am one of those agencies.
Oh,
it's awesome! Congrats, man. Congrats.
One.
I know it's awesome. Super excited. Anyway, congratulations. What have you been doing lately? Before we get in, anything interesting?
No, I have a 10-month-old. Trying to sleep, man.
That's interesting. Whatever, man. I see your entertainment thread, like Mr. I read this book, I watched this movie, I watched this 12-episode show in one day.
All right, well, that hasn't happened in a while,
man. I know. All right, guys. I love the crew of Marvel and Star Wars because it's such a diverse crew of opinions. And we talked about on Kenobi, we're on the Kenobi high, I think, for the most part. I remember we mostly liked everything for the show, I think, right? We all liked it a lot. I loved it. You know, it's not perfect, but I watched the first episode with my daughter who loves Lola, in Leia scenes. She loves that stuff. And even though it's not that Leia chase is, it's rough. It's just good Star Wars, man. It's good Star Wars. I love it. It feels like Star Wars. It gives me good. But we were talking about all those Vader vibes. And we talked about, all of, this big binge. I'm like, I think we just agreed. Let's just do Vader. Let's do the first Kieran Gillen, Salvador LaRocca run. And because it's my least favorite of what I've read so far. I haven't read all of Pac's run recently, but I've liked it a lot. But I remember liking Gillen's stuff a lot back in the day, but it kind of ebbed and flowed. It had a dip at one point. And I was curious if it would hold up because Soul's run's legendary. And we'll cover that one day. But I wanted to get into more Vader, and it was appropriate because it starts right after A New Hope. So it's actually not, it's a good kind of, I think, cross reference for people who are really into the Obi-Wan series or Vader especially. I feel that's a perfect thing to read right afterwards, in my opinion, because it just feels like the same kind of core of the character, especially considering what happens at the end of the episode. So I gave us all homework, and we all read all 25 issues plus Vader down. So I have what 4 trades? 5 trades. 5 trades.
I have no idea.
5 trades. Yeah, there you go. See, he was smart. He was smart. Vader down. Yeah. And we'll kind of break it down maybe a little bit, kind of by trade a little bit, or we'll kind of go all over the place. But yeah, dude, that's beautiful. Is that the whole thing?
Yeah. None of us.
Yeah, and it's not one of the obnoxiously big omnibus.
That's perfect. That's an omnibus in my opinion. What do you say, Chris?
That's a great size.
Yeah, and I think, in fact, we talked about last week or last time where I thought the Knights of the Republic one, that's the limit for me. That's a perfect.
I mean, that's huge.
It's not as big as other ones though. Like that's like right at the cusp.
I honestly think it is. I think the only omnibuses I have that are bigger are Roger Stern's Spider-Man, Heroes Reborn, and the Jeff Johns Green Lanterns.
See, I have all my omnibuses are bigger than that, except for I think maybe Winter Soldier by.
You have like old school omnibuses, right?
Yeah, I got
things when they use that like thicker paper.
That's right. That's right.
Now you like see through the pages.
Yeah. It's omnibus reading like that on like that size omnibus reading. Would you wait? And I'll get to you in a second, Ryfin, because you get to go first because elder statesman. But I'm curious. Yeah. Did they have this cover for the original omnibus? Is this the original cover?
There were 2 covers for the omnibus.
I can't.
And I bought both covers, but that was part of Jeff's 50th birthday present, so I don't remember what the other cover is.
I think this is the cover.
That may be it.
Yeah,
that may be.
This is. I need to get this. It's gorgeous.
There's not a cover. There's really not a cover that's bad in that series, and some of them are just monumental.
That's fair. This is gorgeous. Like that is like why this is not like just in everyone's like any Star Wars fans like Star Wars room is beyond. I need to get it like blown up or without this Star Wars stuff. Which again, that's fair. That's fun, but I want that is gorgeous.
Without the trade dress,
yeah, it's beautiful. So, all right, so just to kind of go into it, I really quick for me going into it before. Sorry, my dog just barfed. Does it all the time. When I read this, she does it, dude. When she drinks, she just pukes it up. It's weird. She sounds like a human being.
It sounds like a college student.
It does, yeah. So when I read these issues back in the day, I loved Chris has lost it. I love Chris. This is a great crew. When these first issues came out, I loved the original 6. And I had some issues with, and again, this is all before, I had some issues with some of the characters that he introduced. I thought it seemed a little almost like too much like X-Men, the way that Salvador designed them and everything. We'll get into that in a second. But for the most part, I love the characterization and the narrative that Gillen was going with. I kind of forgot what that narrative was before I reread it, but I remember liking it a lot at the time, and it got a dip for me a little bit, and then it ended on a high note. And that's where I kind of left off at this point. So, but I was always wanting to go back and reread it. I was telling you guys all before, when we decided to do this, I wanted to get a head start because of this normal life and comic reading in general. I want to get head start. I started reading one trade, and I just couldn't stop. I just kept going and kept going. I was on a Star Wars high because of Kenobi. And I couldn't think of a better comic series, in my opinion, to read after Kenobi, watching the Kenobi series. So if you have watched this or watched the Kenobi series and you're like, man, I really want more like Star Wars that I can, just be pumped about. I honestly can't. Just go out, buy the omnibus. Show that omnibus for me again here, Ryfin. Or buy the trades, or go online, go to Marvel Unlimited, just go and read it because I loved it even more so this time. And I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are. Mr. Ryfin, did you read this all the way through originally, or did you like you usually do, read a little bit and then drop off?
Well, that's a hard question because you gave me two choices that aren't. I called you out. Neither choice is actually right.
Yeah, right. I know.
Because I will drop out for a long time and then catch up. But when this came out, this was right after they started back up at Marvel.
Yeah.
This was early on, and at that point, there wasn't a lot of product because the thing that always messes me up is when they just start plugging the pipeline with product, and then I just kind of go, "All right, this is too much. I'm stepping away."
Yeah.
I always buy it, but then I just catch up later. But at the time, I was reading everything month to month, and I will tell you, it flowed better for me buying it month to month and having a month for it to settle in. And having a month to kind of forget some of the mechanics of the story that will repeat every single issue.
Yeah.
And I had a lesser experience this time reading it than originally.
Really?
Yeah. Reading it straight through, it didn't wear as well to me as taking a break every month and coming back a month later.
Interesting.
That's me. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll get to it, I know, but I'm just going to say this because I know this is going to be controversial.
This ain't going to be controversial.
You know me. I'm not a controversial guy.
Never.
But it really didn't make Vader down wear well for me.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay. That's a fair statement. And we got a comment here. Yeah. Listen. The fire thing is this is from the Kenobi show, right? So for the record, I think the fire thing is I see the criticism of it. It works for me, but I understand. It's one of those things where it doesn't bother me, but I get it. I could make it work in my own head, but it wasn't the best decision. But I love that episode so much that I forgive it.
I don't understand the comment. What does that mean?
So in Kenobi episode 3, when like he lights the thing on fire and the firewall comes up, and then like he lets Kenobi get away, he doesn't like jump over it or like put out the fire with the Force. He just lets him go.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because when I watched that, I was totally fine with that. Like for me, it was fine. For me, it was like he got in Kenobi's head, and you can see that play out in the episodes after. For me, it wasn't like. I don't know. I felt like Vader didn't feel like he needed to kill him in that moment.
Yeah, he was toying with him, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
My thing when I first watched it, I thought this is really a weird part of the show because it was so brutal at that point.
Dude, it was awesome.
But the other thing is, though, in retrospect, I didn't even think about that moment of that episode until it got brought up here because everything that happens before it is so interesting and so Vader.
Yeah. I think the whole. I honestly think episode 3 is a fantastic episode altogether of all the characters. The show is not is it the best written Star Wars thing ever? No, but when it hits, it's really well written. I thought I think from a story standpoint, it had the right like story beats. But the execution between the beats wasn't always strong. But that's just kind of how TV is a lot of times. Anyway, so back to the comic. You didn't like it as much overall.
Yeah. Now, and that's not to say, I mean, that's, it's like going, I got an A- instead of an A. It's.
Oh, great.
I'm not rejecting it, but
okay. What do we get for grade?
Yeah, I liked it less.
Okay, what grade would you? Okay, let's just go. I didn't even think about that. Let's just, if you want time, I'll give you some time. If you want me to go first, I can go first. What would you give this a grade? If you want me, if I want to give you a few minutes, I can give you a few minutes. Overall,
For me?
Yeah,
or
the
Chris?
whole thing for you.
Okay, yeah, it probably is an A minus.
Really?
It probably was an A before. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking you're giving like a B minus or something like that.
No. I mean, I liked it, but it just didn't quite. There's some things that just, again, some of the story elements that they kind of have to give each character their little bits every issue because it is a monthly. And when all the character bits that have to happen every issue take place in quick succession, some of them just kind of grate to me.
Interesting. I'm going to give this. I originally would have probably given it a B plus originally. And I think I'm going to go with probably an A overall. I think it definitely was B plus for me at first, but I fell in love with these comics way more. Gillen's just a good writer, man. I know, Chris, I know you're even in his stuff. I mean, I need to catch up on that, but like in the Wicked and the Divine, I need to read that. Chris, you were praising Sword, the whatever that Sword book was.
Oh yeah. Once in Future.
Yeah, What's the Future? Yeah, sorry, What's the Future? Sword. King Arthur, you knew what I was talking about. Yeah, sorry. What's the Future? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, but there is a lot. He is in his Eternal stuff. I love Jack Kirby. His Eternals comics are unreadable. They are
Kirby's?
lookable. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they're lookable.
Completely.
They're not readable. There's a difference. Yes. Kieran Gillen's, I haven't read all of it, but I read the first arc, the first run, and I need to catch up on it. His Eternals comics are fantastic. They're so good. So I can't recommend those enough. Those are great. I really like those comics. So, but these Vader comics though, I liked way more this time. I've always liked him as a writer. I don't know if I'll ever want to read his Afro comics again. I did not like his Afro comics though. Not because of the Afro character, but I think the tone and the art to Kev Walker. No thanks. I'm good. That's just my opinion. Chris, you kind of inspired me a little bit on this whole grading thing. So I'll take it away. Tell me about this book. What you did before you started.
So before I read it, I wrote down some quick bullet point notes. I just wanted to put in there okay, this is what I thought. This is what I remember. This is why I like it as much as I remember liking it. So it's funny because some of these points I don't make sense, but I want to talk about it.
Just go. Everyone loves you. We love you. Go.
I would have thought so. Originally, I would have given it an A, and I think rereading it again, I would give it an A. But I feel like maybe for different reasons, which is kind of cool.
I love it.
When I wrote about what I remembered from the series, is that I said it was my favorite Vader series.
Wow.
I said that I was not a fan of the general premise at first.
I can see that.
Vader kind of smacked down. He's kind of fallen down the ladder a little bit, and then he's under. He's kind of under Taggy or Tag. I don't know how you pronounce the name, but
Tag.
I'm going with the E.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Tag.
Oh yeah.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Why would the E be there if you didn't use it?
Okay, audience, can someone please? I mean, we have 3 people, which by the way, 3 people. I love you. Mwah. Will you please, someone tell me E or without the E? To me, it's always without the E. Come on. Anyway,
I'm an E guy.
Of course you are. Anyway, all right, Chris. Sorry.
I didn't remember the inspector's name, but I remember loving his character.
Yep.
I remembered Afro the droids, Black Chrysanthemum, and I remembered bits and pieces overall. And I remember liking them, but I wasn't sure if this was the series I fell in love with them or if it was the Afro series. And it was, and I can say it was definitely this series. I remember some of the Inquisitors showing up. Okay. I read this a lot.
Oops. Wrong series. No worries though.
It was the usurpers characters. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they mentioned the Inquisitors at all in this story. Actually,
I don't think Inquisitors really existed yet.
I was trying to think because they had rebels. And
they had rebels. They existed. They just
did they?
Yeah. Well, technically they existed.
Series launched in 2015, right?
Yeah, but Rebels came out in 2014, didn't it? Came out before Force Awakens for sure.
But when did the Inquisitors show up?
They should. Well,
they were the first season of Rebels.
The first season. Yeah, Grand Inquisitor, bro. Yeah, Grand Inquisitor. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. Tag. Yeah, whatever. I'll give you a tag.
J-Dub.
I'll give you a tag.
And then I said I didn't remember the ending, but I remember I really liked it, and then I remembered that it tied into the other ongoing Star Wars comic a ton, which it did. Like obviously have Vader down, and I like that you can read this series without having read the corresponding Star Wars issues, and it still made sense.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job of that.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's it. That's kind of like my thoughts going into it.
Okay, all right. So, what do you think rereading it, man?
I loved it. Actually.
Yeah, word. Of course, Ryan has to be the little odd man out. I only kind of liked it less than you guys.
I mean, it was interesting because like it was part like Vader's quest, but I thought done better, especially that first volume.
God, look at that.
I enjoyed Afra's character a lot. Even
yes,
more
Afra's fantastic. Yes.
And it's interesting because I remember that I really liked the droids. This time I sort of liked them. Like when the droids, when the droids are with Afra, I really like them. But like later in the series when she's gone and then like they pair 000 up with Darth Vader, I don't like their interaction as much. I don't think that he plays off well with Vader.
I could see that. I don't agree with it necessarily. I don't disagree or agree. I was fine either way. Does that make sense? But I could see where you'd have a problem with it. It's weird to have like a jokey droid talking about murdering people and Darth Vader being like, droid. Yeah. So, I get it. I get it.
And I get it. One of the things I like about Afra's character in this is that, I remember she was a motor mouth, and I remember that, she's written very modern, like a lot of Star Wars are written, I think, more classically, but she very much feels like a post 2000s like character that you would find in this. Like you would not have found Afra in like a 1990s story or anything like or a 1980s story. But I like that she's got this snark, but she's also got this, but it's like her armor almost, right? She's got this ability. She's like so scared to death all the time, and this is like kind of like processing it. So I thought it was really well done. That and as I finished the fourth volume, I was like, if I was to put this whole series into like a single phrase, it would be started from the bottom, now we're here. Because the whole series, it's like, how do you tell a story about Vader, who is arguably at the height of his power, but how do you make him compelling, right? Well, you throw him down to the bottom, and he works his way back up. And in these 25 issues, that's what he does, right? He starts at the bottom, and he just cuts everybody down overall. And that last issue, that 25th issue, is so good. When he just with Taggy, with how everything is resolved with Afra, really, really, really well done.
Man, yeah, dude. And I know you guys all kind of picked. We'll go rapid fire here from here on out for the most part. And then whenever you guys want, you guys have tons of pages you want to talk about, and bring up later on. Just fire it up when you want me to bring it up. I forgot about the inspector. I forgot his name already, but I forgot about that character, and I forgot how rad he was. And
the monocle, the king.
So rad. And Gillen has a way of writing these really interesting characters that I'm like, man, they're way more interesting than you ever think they would be. Like if you were to tell me what that character is on the outside, is on a surface level, I'd be like, okay, we've seen it. Okay, yeah, no brainer. But the way he writes their interactions and the way he interweaves like their connection and like how Vader uses them, and he uses Vader, is so good. And I think, to be honest, I would say Gillen kind of established how you write Vader's voice in a comic book, in my opinion. Because I mean, now I think Charles Soule did a phenomenal job too, but I feel that Gillen really set the table how you do it. And I think Pac and Soul just kind of went off of Gillen's kind of, again, they did their own thing, but I think he showed you what you need to do in a comic book, what you could get away with as far as what he can, dialogue and whatnot. And it works because I think it flows so well from the films. But it's also a little bit different. Like the way the cadence is a little different, but it works. I can't really explain it. Does that make any sense? Anyone agree with that? The dialogue of Vader, what Gillen wrote, does that seem consistent enough, Ryfin? No.
I almost screen grabbed every single frame of and I just at first I was like, okay. And then about the 78th time Vader went, I just went, oh, come on, dude.
Is this a hum?
Seriously.
Is this a hum?
A lot of in that. Yeah.
I don't
know why. Overall, the dialogue flows well, but for whatever reason, he just keeps going throughout this whole thing. And I've never heard Vader say that before or since.
Yeah, I Chris, do you remember him doing that? I don't remember. I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't remember him doing that ever. Give me a page. Give me a page, and we'll find out. Oh,
good grief! I'm not going to dig through the pages for this.
Oh, come on! What are we talking? What emails are we doing?
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. All right, Chris, go ahead.
One of the interesting things about this is how quickly Vader. The first couple issues, right? He's like the main character, but he very quickly kind of takes a step back, I think, and Gillen really lets the supporting cast members really come through and really shine. And I think that's what makes this so good is that at the end of the day, like, Vader's character, and he almost doesn't really have a whole heck of a lot of personality, so you have to almost surround him with characters who can kind of pick up that slack. And what I really loved, and I didn't realize it until Vader Down, but his supporting cast, more or less, they're all just a corrupted version of the Star Wars heroes.
No, totally. Yeah.
And then so getting to see them like finally go head to head in Vader's Down, I really liked it more this time for that reason.
But you liked Vader Down more when you read it this time, correct? You said?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, square off on that.
Really, my only probably complaint was that the art was uneven, but that's any tie-in where you kind of have issues and everything. But
yeah, you're literally flipping from one title that has one tone to another title that has a different tone.
But I think the tones work though, because this is why I'm being an apologist for Salvador LaRocca. I'm probably butchering his name. Sorry, everyone. But the thing is, and this is one thing I'm going to praise the title for. Again, comics are more than the periodicals that we get in mainstream comics, right? Like I get it. Like I know comic books are beyond all of that, manga, everything. But I grew up on periodicals, and I respect and love a good old fashioned team of a writer, artist, colorist, inker, same team for a couple of years, telling a consistent story. The consistency in monthly comics is so critical that I feel that I don't know why what's happened, but with modern comics, it's been impossible for these companies, besides Marvel, DC, even the other ones, impossible for them to maintain this consistency and continuity within the creators, not just the continuity of a story, but the creators and having a consistent story. I just loved that there was never a wavering of the title, and I think the quality of the book, maybe a dip in tone, like this ebbs and flows. There was never a or a high. It was always just I love the consistency of the title, and it's a lost art in monthly comics that people just don't respect. And you brought up too, Ryfin, that you said it didn't read as well for you because you had the monthly comic, you have to kind of read and state things, and that does hurt the binge a little bit, right? It does hurt your rereading. I think in general, I think I totally see that, but when I know that going into it, so you take that in account. Obviously, you give it an A- for God's sakes. I mean, I know you like it.
Oh yeah.
So, but I just want to say that I was actually really impressed how good it was, and I admired how they were able to keep such a consistent tone and quality, even though it wasn't always amazing. It was so consistent that I just kind of kept reading, and that's just such a lost art. And I thought they did a great job of the consistency of the tone. So when Vader Down happened, I liked the fact that it still had that old school like 90s vibe where it's like different artists, and it's jarring at times, but for me, because the Vader was consistent the whole time, I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me as much. But we'll get to Diodato in a moment. Because, yeah. Anyway, anyone want to comment on that?
Yeah, let me step back for a second, and then I'll jump into Vader down from where I want to go. I'm going to reiterate some things I probably said before, but when this series first came out, I had my doubts, and Vader is my favorite character, but I wasn't worried so much they'd mishandle him, but that there's a certain morality that underlies Star Wars in general, but also just most heroic comics, and it's very difficult to say we're going to take this guy who behaves in a very horribly immoral way and we're going to make him the hero of the book. You're giving this guy, you've got to give the hero of the book a lot of wins. The problem is, if you give this guy a lot of wins, he's an immoral character. You're not supposed to give him wins. At the same time, if you give this guy too many losses, you diminish who he is as a villain. You diminish his power and his effect. So the key here is you surround him with people who are just as bad or worse than he is.
Yeah.
And then when he wins, it's kind of, he's the guy who crawled out of the pond of muck and he left the muck behind. When you populate the book, as I think Chris is the one who pointed out, they're kind of all, you have a lot of black versions of the Star Wars characters, the dark side versions of
mirror versions.
Of the Star Wars. And I think that's what kind of makes this series work is you've got to have your hero, quote unquote. You've got to have him have wins. G-Man and I have been talking about this for a while because we talk about some of the trials and tribulations, the really awful things that Marvel does to Peter Parker over the years. And when they fail is when they don't ultimately give Peter a win. Peter has to win.
That's a great point. That's dude. I need to write that down and do it on the next Spider-Man podcast we do for the Council or the Spidey Experience, because that's freaking on the money.
Even when he wins, he loses.
Yeah.
But you got to give him a chance to at some point say, "This is why I do this. This is why it's worth doing this. I get it." And then you can put him back on the losing path for a while, and we can all suffer with him. But at some point, you got to give the guy a win, and you always have to give your hero a win at some point. Vader has to have wins, and to do that, again, you've got to put him in a situation where you feel okay rooting for Vader to win. Busting him down, as Chris mentioned, it's the perfect starting point. I mean, the starting point right after the Death Star is great. He gets blamed for it, and he gets put down. And he has to, he gets sent to purgatory and he has to work his way out of it, basically.
But sorry, go ahead.
Premise-wise, it's great. No, go ahead.
So I want to talk about that because you brought that up, Chris, and Rife, and you just kind of expanded on it too. The difference between this, I'm not sure if you read the Pac run yet, Rife, but the Pac run's really good. Yeah. So you've got to get to it. Okay,
I'm starting Crimson Reign right now. So,
so you're right. You're pretty much right where I am, essentially. So we're in the same boat.
Waiting for the trades.
Yeah, trade raiders, go unite. So, and Chris, I don't remember if you don't remember this either, but remember in the Pac run, what does the Emperor do to Vader? He beats the crap out of him.
He does.
Oh wait, no, hold on. Am I thinking of Soul?
No, that's
That's
Pac run.
Yeah, because the Soul Run, he like when he gets pissed off, and then the Emperor puts him in his place, but then he lets him do his thing. Is that right? I forget. Or Pac, I want to say he like beat the crap out of him and said you have to like reclaim your throne. He has to use a droid arm and all that stuff. Isn't that what he does?
Yeah, he has to team up with Ochi of Bestoon.
I love OG.
Yeah.
But
that's the current run. That's the Pac run. Yeah.
Right. So my point is that the different times the Emperor put him down in different ways, and I like the idea that Gillen went the other way. Like it wasn't the tendency would be to do the violent one, right? That's the tendency. He went the other route of the mind route, which is the Emperor is the biggest thing about him, right? He's smart. He's a
manipulator.
Yeah, he's manipulating. He knew how to manipulate Vader in a different way, and I like that. And that's what the whole run's based on. I actually grabbed some screen grabs because these characters that Silo 4 or 5, whatever the hell his name is, that he takes, he makes these characters, and it's like, oh yeah, these characters are. I thought I grabbed it. These characters are you failed, but these guys are they're not mirror versions of Vader, but they are. Where did it go? I thought I had it here, but I guess I did. Oh, here we go. Dang it! I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, I guess I lost it. Gosh darn it, guys, I forgot where it was. Anyway, but these characters that we introduce ourselves to in the series, these like forget these android characters that basically Silo or Silo, whatever his name is, he goes in and creates. He says these are your replacements, right? And I love the fact that Vader, the Emperor knows, like, yeah, these guys don't hold a candle to Vader, but the difference is that Vader needs to prove himself, and these are almost like. The Emperor's I always feel like the Emperor is not necessarily thinking that he's going to lose. Like, oh yeah, I legitimately want to see what Silo is going to do, but he's just curious. Like, how close can you get to the Force with these droid characters?
Yeah, and you know what? If it works out and he's stronger in the Force, and I've got a better apprentice, then so be it.
Yeah. Or I can do that. No, exactly. No, it's this is where I will say I didn't like these characters initially. I did not like them. I thought they were like, I felt like I'm going to try to find the picture I have. I thought I saved it, but apparently I didn't. It looked like the X-Men, and I did not. I was like, this does not look good.
No, another picture you think though.
Yeah, I'll grab it here in a second. But anyway, I got to tell you, rereading it again, they were more embracive. I felt the first time with all these characters, like the Admiral Akbar character, I forgot his name. This guy, everything. Like I didn't like him at first, but I gotta say, the second time through, I'm like, oh no, this is actually pretty awesome. I actually really like this character. It all worked out. I thought worked out really well. I thought in rereading it.
What I like about him as a character is that he's literally a descendant of General Grievous, as far as technology goes. And
good point.
Grievous was always positioned as a forerunner to Vader. They took this living guy, they built a cyber containment for him. He's got breathing problems. I mean, he is the forerunner to Vader, technologically speaking. So they kind of bring that back and say, okay, yeah, now it's kind of Vader versus Grievous. This is what this is.
That's the picture you're thinking of, right?
Come with me, my X-Men. Oh God. No. Yeah. Oh man. No, but seriously, this is not the greatest introduction to them. But they are besides the Trandoshan character, which he's gone right away. But these other characters all play important parts of establishing and reinforcing what makes Vader unique. And that's why I love what Gillen does in this run. And I'm curious, would you guys agree that that's what he basically does throughout these issues?
Sure. I think also he plays a lot with the notion of the Sith and the rule of two. There are a lot of variations on that, not just people trying to take out Vader, but when you see the twins, ultimately, the young man, I can't remember any of these guys' names, which is probably not a good thing, but he literally just spikes his sister into lava.
Horrible lies.
Yeah. But he ditches her, throws her in the lava, and that's it. Why? Because if he's going to be the apprentice, if he's going to take over, there aren't going to be two of them. He throws his own sister out over his pursuit of power. I mean, there's a lot throughout this whole thing that I saw, which is, here's the way the Sith are structured. This is never going to work this way. And the Emperor finally reveals that by the end of the series and says, look, yeah, I know this is not the way it's going to last forever, but this is where we had to do to get to where we need to be. And now we're going to make the galaxy a full dark side galaxy.
Yeah.
And Paul, I think that that image you showed where they're first introduced, and it does give strong X-Men vibes, but I think that panel, that page, is done on purpose. I think you want to look at them, and I think as a reader, you want to be like, I hate all of these characters immediately. Right? like the stance of all of them is just like,
no, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and it's so funny that Scott said he doesn't remember any of their names because neither do I. It doesn't matter, right? You read this and you're like, Vader's going to kill all these people.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't.
All dead.
Look at the. This is a great cover. You brought up before too, Scott, that the covers for this series are so good. Like in LaRocca, I know that other people do them too, but this is a captivating cover, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a couple of the more painted looking ones or colored pencil looking ones that I almost go, is that Hugh Fleming? Because they're just, because Hugh Fleming was always one of my favorites.
Yeah.
In
the
Dark Horse era. And there's a few of those where you just go like, is that Hugh? Is that? Yeah. But look at that. That's a gorgeous. That one that's not Hugh Fleming, but that would fool me into thinking it was a Hugh Fleming. I love these covers.
Oh yeah. It's again, this is why I'm talking about the consistency of the book, because they would intertwine. It wouldn't just be like this, poses, right? Like this. Like this is fine. Like I'm usually against covers like this, right? I'm more like this. Okay. These are. Oh, I'm gonna go back to the cover here. I had to reiterate. This is the kind of cover I like because it tells you what's going to happen in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And
that's what I love.
Other one is supposed to be the other one is supposed to be a generic image to get you through to get you to buy it, basically.
In the door. Yeah. It has to get you in the door.
Yeah. But I do like I like both
let's
styles.
Face it, like no, I agree. This is why I'm saying, like, I think it's consistent because covers like this are fantastic, but it's also telling you what's going to happen, right? And like this, again, like these are really good covers. Like that isn't really telling you anything. It's whatever, right? But still, these are good covers though. But it's not like they're doing both, but not. It's what?
No, I just like it.
This is great. Like this is great stuff. So
yeah.
My internet's wonking out, so I apologize to everyone. Thank you, and everyone. If you haven't already, please hit like because I got to remind people to do that. Comment, say nice things. Say Scott Ryfun looks sexy in his Teddy. Is that what it is? Teddy Roosevelt.
And my Teddy.
Oh God. Anyway, sorry, I'm delayed. My thing is bad.
Whew.
You know what I meant. Whatever the hell Roosevelt, whatever that was called, Teddy Roosevelt.
Roosevelt's, yeah.
You're Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, Roosevelt. Sorry, Teddy Roosevelt. That's what I had in my head. I'm out of control. Chris, I'll start with you. You sent me a bunch of stuff you wanted to talk about. Go ahead and start kind of mentioning those pages and those panels you were sending me.
Oh yeah, you have them queued up, or do I need to?
Yeah, they're ready to go. Just holler at me which ones you want, and I'll throw them up.
Dude, just throw any of them up. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll just start going through.
Okay.
Same for me when it's my turn.
This is yours, right, Scott?
I think that is one of mine. Yeah.
Is this yours? Is this yours? Is this Chris's?
I think that's
okay. Hold on. Let me get it.
That's one of mine.
That is one of yours. Hold on. Let me get it. This is one of Chris's.
Yeah. Oh man, I love this. This is when he finds out that Luke's his son, right? It's his Vader's quest moment, right? Where he hears the name from Skywalker. And this picture, and then the picture after that I sent you is where he's like looking out at all the ships. You feel so much emotion in this.
Rage.
Yes, right? Just like that he's cracked the glass. Oh man, that
is nothing but just pure rage, anger.
And then what does he say there? He says, "He will be mine. It will all be mine." Like that is just
so good.
You feel it. You feel it.
that's the beginning of the wheels turning too. I'm going to recruit him, and he's going to be my apprentice, and we're going to take out the Emperor. That's what It Will All Be Mine is.
And Paul, when you
I know. Sure, go ahead.
I was gonna say when you were talking earlier about how readable this is and how you could just kind of like keep reading and not stopping. This is really where that starts, because this is when Vader decides that he's going to kind of work around the Emperor, and he's got his own plan in mind, and sort of really it kind of comes into play in Volume 2, I think, where him and Aphra have this dynamic where they're constantly, right? Like they're friends and they're enemies, and they're friends and they're enemies, and he's about to kill her, and then he doesn't because she's got something he needs, and then it kind of goes back and forth. And it's one of these things where you're reading it and you want her to screw over Vader, and make it out alive. But you know that can't happen, because you don't screw over Vader and live. So when you get to see her kind of weasel out of those situations, it's really great. But you also know the other shoe's going to drop at some point, and he's going to kill her. And so you just, but when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? Because there's only so many times you can escape from Vader before.
Seriously.
He's done with you. So that's when I was rereading it, was so compelling to me. Reading it again was like, man, this is like, how do I remember this? Like, this is so, I can't stop. So.
No, exactly. No, it's crazy how good this was, and it's nuts, man. Like it's straight up nuts how good the series is. I'm trying to find your other
and go ahead, Aphra in this, as you're looking for other pictures. Aphra in this series is probably, to me, at her best, because she is cheeky yet vulnerable.
Yes.
I will tell you, I bought the audio drama that they made of her, and I quit after about 5 minutes because I couldn't take her just smarting off at Vader the whole time the way she was doing. There's no balance to her anymore. She's just all id all the time now.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me. But in this book, she's got that vulnerability that you're talking about. You see the fear that is underneath the exterior quite a bit. And that's what makes her an interesting character, not the cheekiness itself. BT and 000 start to get on my nerves, because every issue they have to have their little cutesy moment where and at first you go, oh, that's funny. And then the next issue you go, okay, that just happened again. And then the fourth, fifth, and they're doing it with Vader. And my Vader just destroys and obliterates them because he's just sick of hearing it. I just don't think anybody talks to him like this, like they do on a regular basis. So that's kind of that, when I talked about the seams showing a little after a while, that was the seam showing.
Yeah.
Now, see, this is a really good page.
Yep.
Because again, that's showing Aphra the vulnerability that they have somehow forgotten about with her character.
Yeah. I mean, this is like her worst nightmare happening, and he's about to kill her. And then he does he? But reading this again, I know that like she's had other series since then, but in the moment, it's like I forget that, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, like, oh my god!
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, seriously. It's and really quickly, I just want to touch on. We have two more things we got to touch on before we get, and I want to get your stuff you sent to Scott. So, but we still gotta have to talk about Vader Down for a minute. We got the little mini debate about LaRocca. So we're going a little longer today, but I don't care. So before we move on to Scott's stuff, is there anyone you want to talk about your pages? I love your pages here.
Oh, for me? No, I think we'll talk about Vader Down. I just that's such a cool shot, and a lot of this was Aphra heavy. I had one other with where 000 and BD are chucking that dude in the lava. Yeah, this was like really dark.
Yeah.
Like he 000 talks a lot of crap throughout the series, but like this is like, I was like, this stuck out to me. I was like, man, this is really dark.
Yeah, it's dark. Let's just be real. It's yeah.
When you have a character with that kind of menace and that kind of threatening, it only works if every so often you see them fulfill it.
Yeah. Good point.
They can't be all talk. They can't be.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I want to say real quick before we get into our little mini debate, but I just reading these comics and then also being reminded as we're talking about them and I'm throwing on these pages and everything, LaRocca and Gillen, they were such a good team together. It really showed you, I think, the dynamics of the medium of comics. I really do. Like, look how great and efficient this is. 6 panels, and look how I just love how it's not over flashy, but it's efficient. The efficiency of storytelling through all this has been so good. So when you get these moments where there's tons of moments where it feels like they're just kind of not throwing it all together, but it seems so so seamless. Like this moment. This isn't a big moment. This could easily be a very much like a forced moment. This was incredible because they built up and again, you built up at the very last page, a splash page. That is a very much a trademark, easy thing to do, but they pull it off and it's not forced. It's not over the top. It is what you couldn't write this any better, in my opinion. You couldn't draw it better. You couldn't write it better. This is, again, comic book storytelling, I think, efficiently. You don't have to love it, but from an efficiency standpoint, I think this is a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. This is so good. So Chris, anything before we move on to Scott's little shindig here of his stuff he sent over? No? Okay. Well, Scott Rifen, what do you have to say for this? What about this? Okay. What's this all about?
Let's take a look at these things really quickly. I gotta refresh my brain. That's why I kept sending you the picture. I was like, this stands out to me for this reason, and when I see it again, I'll remember.
And if I don't have it, I'll grab it. Go ahead.
Well, no, I found this one interesting for there's a lot of cinematography in this series that LaRocca does. There's a lot of widescreen to the series. Don't go too far past that. Wait.
All right.
I'm going to go through each of these. And what I like about this is a thing. John McTiernan used to do this a lot. He does it in Die Hard, where there's a thing he wants you to show, and rather than zoom in on it, he does a series of quick cuts that are just closer and closer to it. And this is kind of, to me, was that comic version of that.
Okay.
The quick cuts that are closer and closer to it, rather than a zoom in. And I just thought that was kind of neat. All right, what do you got next?
Hold on. This is, by the way, again, comic book medium right here, guys. This is great. Look at this big splash page. Basically, you have the anchor, then oh god, this 3 panels. This is 3 panels, but again, beautifully done. LaRocca, you can say what you want about it swiping, but you can't swipe storytelling like this all the time. That's all I gotta say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, and it's pure cinema. That's what I love about it. Again, a lot of widescreen in this book. A lot of widescreen.
Right, this is the next one I have of yours. Is this right? Okay.
Let me see.
I'll be right back. Just keep talking. I gotta use the restroom. So go ahead.
Okay.
Keep going.
Let's see. If the truth matter is reward will not. It says a bit of keep the credits. Oh, this is that thing that I was talking about, where it's let's make jokes with Vader, and at first it's funny, and then after a while. And this is the thing that I was talking about earlier. I don't want anything to question how serious, how lethal, how dangerous Vader is. And when he keeps tolerating this kind of thing, it to me diminishes the menace of Darth Vader a little.
I agree. And that was my one of my takeaways when in reading this, because I remembered I really like 000. He's he's so funny and his homicidal way, but I agree. I thought when Afra kind of gets knocked out near the end of the run and BD and 000 get teamed up with Vader, it feels like a mismatch. It feels like he doesn't play off Vader well because exactly what you said about who Vader is, and it's not a good mesh.
I'm a guy who used to get frustrated at how Vader was treated by Disney, and I'm not talking about the Disney, Star Wars, but before they bought Lucasfilm, they'd gotten to a point where Disney and Lucasfilm were having him break dance in the parks, and on the parade show, oh no, he can't get on the ride, or his ice cream cone fell off, or whatever, and it was just like when in fact to the point that when Disney bought Star Wars, and everybody kept coming to me making the joke, because we're all the Star Wars guy to our friends. And everybody kept coming to me making the joke, Princess Leia, she's the latest Disney princess. And I'd go, no, Vader's the Disney princess. Trust me on this, because they had really done a lot towards taking his fangs away before the sale. After the sale, they've done a lot to restore his fangs, and I'm thankful for that. P Thug, you around to switch that, or is he still okay? Well, you know what? We'll go through some of these other ones as well, because I do have a couple of notes here. Again, here's something I find interesting: the shoot or run story. Oh, P Thug, is he back? We just changed up somehow. Maybe he did that. All right, let's take a look at that.
I did.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
We are a sheet of tiny. Okay, yeah. Here he is. I find this interesting because there's an angle, and there's another one that I did of this where he's my wonderful droids were the thin metallic line, and then he goes into the rest of that description. What I like about that is there are some dynamics. I actually wrote a paper about this in college. There's kind of a race dynamic. I was one of the few people, like I had a VHS supplement to go along with my paper that I turned in. It's like nobody did that back then. There's a dynamic that is parallel to race relations in America historically in the very first Star Wars film. Oh, you're droids. We don't serve their kind here. They have to wait outside by the speeder. And Archie Goodwin would address that. He brought it up, the discrimination against droids, you know, the anti-droidism, whatever you want to call it. Archie Goodwin does a lot of playing with that in the original series. And in this, I like this because here we know that, you know what, droids can hate people just as much too. And we can see that same angle being played. They don't play this thing a lot, and I wish they would play it more.
I agree.
Man, you know, a lot of people criticize 000. They did not like his intense personality. And I feel like Gillen just like I don't think he stepped on the gas when that happened, but I think he just kind of kept the ship sailing, if you will. And I think that it works when I reread it because I really liked 000 a lot more actually this time. I know you, Chris, you didn't say you didn't like it as much. I liked him a lot more this time.
Yeah, my problem with him, again, and I mentioned this when you were away, is just that the constant jokiness at Vader, like in that scene right there, it to me, it diminishes Vader's menace. It diminishes Vader as a villain to know that he's just going to sit and tolerate that stuff.
Oh, my boy, my boy, my sweet boy. By the way, guys, wait till I tell you my episode. I know we love you, Dave.
David?
With my episode idea with Dave, we're going to be working on eventually. Dave, you're listening to this. Don't think I haven't thought about it because we're going to get launching here and hopefully next month because there's a new YouTube channel that's going to happen. We have to figure out the name. I got a name, but the premise will be it's going to be, I think it's unique, but it's not comic related, funny enough, but it'll be awesome. Just can't wait to talk about it. Anyway, shut up. Anyway,
what it means is they don't photograph well.
You know, he has them. He's taking pictures. Dave, whatever, dude. Why do you hate freaking? Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. If you watch yourself, I'll give you a link and get you on here. You just watch yourself, sir. I don't know. The droid thing I thought was really cool. I like the droids. I could see why one of my best friends in the world doesn't like him. But I thought they were good. Is there anything you want to add into your picks for those pages you sent over?
Run through these. Run through the rest of them. Let's see what you got. Okay, this was the only reason I had this was because I feel like the Chancellor Julie is the Dr. Phil of Shoot or Run. He's bald. He's got a mustache, and he delivers bad advice throughout the entire story.
Or obvious advice.
Dr. Phil.
Or obvious advice. You should talk to your wife. Oh my God, Dr. Phil, you're a genius.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now let me also say this, and this is going to get really kind of weird and heavy. Okay.
Oh.
So when Vader first shows up in Shoot or Run in the annual, he brings with him what?
God, I hate you. Not you. This guy. Father's figures. You never bought him.
What does Vader bring with him to Shoot or Run the first time around?
Well, he just brings if I remember correctly, he doesn't bring hardly anything.
No, he brings an object.
Oh,
he brings an object.
I forget. It's been a minute, man. I forgot.
He brings a cube that inside the cube.
Oh, yes.
Is the last rock of Alderaan.
The chunk
of That's right.
Yep.
He brings a cube that is the symbol of what happens when you defy the Emperor.
Yeah.
Now, when you get to the Shadowrun War, the person who defies the Emperor is named Rubix. All I'm going to say, that has to be deliberate.
For sure. For sure. I mean, listen. Listen, I'm gonna say it right now, and this might be unpopular. I'm curious what you guys all think. I actually didn't like, this is where I think it dipped for me, was this run. It was entertaining to read. It was better the second time through. That's why I went from a B+ to a solid A.
Mm-hmm.
The Shugo run, whatever the hell it's called. I'm so terrible with names. Yeah. This whole arc with the war and then taking over the Ore planet. It read better the second time. I did not like it reading it monthly. It felt like it dragged. It still wasn't great in my opinion. It was better. I don't like the princess character that much, especially when Gillen brings her back in Star Wars main series. Woof. It's woof.
See, I find this more layered this run than I did the last time. I find more. I agree with
that. Yes, I agree with that.
I find more, again, what I see as part of the through line of the Sith don't work, and here's why. Because again, she's got siblings who have to be wiped out in order for her to take her place. There's a great point towards the end where she's talking to BT, Vader's leaving, and Vader says, she's thanking him basically for selecting her as the queen, and he says there was no other choice. And BT's like, well, one can't help but note that could have been taken multiple ways. And she says, yeah, I know. And he said, he could be playing you're excellent, or that you. And she says, I know, leave droid. I can't destroy him. I can destroy you. So now again, establishing the pecking order of, I could take him out.
Yeah.
Can't take Vader out. I'm willing to be subservient directly to him.
Right. Yeah.
Again, it's that structure of the Sith, that rule of two thing. There it is right there. That rule of two thing is just kind of illustrated here. There aren't going to be two of us because I can take you out. And Vader's going to be the other guy because he could take me out.
Yeah. And this is what I'm going to say. Like, I liked her character a lot more this time. When we eventually, and maybe in many, many years, if we're still doing this, when I reread that Gillen run, which is Star Wars, it's rough. Ooh, it's rough.
Well, and I've got one more page on this.
Okay. What's up?
There's a full page. I think I sent it to you. Maybe I didn't. They're him standing over Silo, and it's the full page. That's a great page. I didn't talk about that one. That's just, I love the layout. It's just gorgeous. Vader always winds up getting in a fight around lava. I don't know why.
Why argue? Why get mad?
You can't avoid the lava.
Yeah. I'll find it. I'll find it. Hold on a second.
There's one other full page.
Keep going.
While you're looking for it, I'll throw in. You're talking about this arc, this Shutoran.
Yeah.
I think the reason why it maybe doesn't click is because it doesn't have, like, there's no Aphra in this arc. Spectre's not in this arc. It's really more Vader. It's the droids. The droids are kind of hit and miss, and for me personally, I think the droids don't work as well without Aphra. But his cast, his supporting cast in this run, I think it's not as strong.
And that's interesting you say that, because initially I'm turned off by this. And you know why I'm initially turned off by it? There's the page. You know why I'm initially turned off by this story? Because it reads like 100 other Dark Horse Star Wars stories.
Yeah.
You go to a planet, they have their little culture,
yeah,
they've got a king,
exactly.
You've got the kids, somebody's a traitor, but to me it turns into more than that. And that's where it grabs.
Yeah.
Me. Okay, you got the page up. Good. I just found it interesting that they use the line that winds up being an Obi-Wan. Oh, you went past the page.
Which line is it?
Well, just where he says, Anakin, I killed Anakin. I killed him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Anakin's dead. I killed him. So there, we're thematically consistent with what came in the filmed canon. Because even though they say all this stuff is canon, the novels and the comics, when they decide to film entertainment, that is going to take precedent if they want to break this canon. You know that. But
absolutely.
To do something,
absolutely.
To do something that later is going to be thematically consistent with what they put on film, to me, is just it means these guys are in the right place. It means they're mining the right vein.
And really quickly, this is, again, you want to talk about storytelling. This is comic book medium, people, and I don't like showing pages. Again, I'm very anti showing pages multiple. We're covering 25 issues, so I don't feel as bad doing that. And we're also not trying to spoil things as much either. We haven't spoiled hardly at all, I don't think, much of the story, in my opinion. And I got to tell you, because these comics are worth checking out. I think they're great. But this is great. These 2 pages right here, because this is what it is right here. I love this, right? And then what I just added here, what you talked about, this is the next page. Mm-hmm. This is great storytelling. 3 panels followed up by 5 panels, excuse me. I love it, man. I love this medium so much. And I just love the difference of color. Again, the 2 panels in between there are different. And, it's Vader talking, and that's why it's different. Again, these are artistic choices of the medium that I freaking love, and these are I think, appreciated things. And when people read these comic books, because again, they're reading for Star Wars, I get it. This is underappreciated stuff, man. This is artistic stuff at its finest, in my opinion, or finest, but it's high good stuff for the medium of comic books. And I think when people read this, you miss out some things on sometimes of these nuances like this. This is good 1-2 punch of storytelling, man. This is fantastic. So go read these comics, man. They're fantastic. What was this? Why'd you add this in here?
I thought this was interesting because it was a callback. She says, to survive on Shoot or Run, you must dance. And they told Vader that when he first arrived. And again, they did the annual to set this up, and then they went into Vader Down, and then they came back to this. And I found it interesting that she is still telling the trooper, you must dance. Well, Vader, they told that to, and he showed, you know what? I don't have to dance. So again, it goes back to that whole rule of 2 thing. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to give you the orders. I'm going to boss you around. And this is the way you survive. But this guy doesn't have to do it.
Dude, I just got that. Damn. I'm on it, and I'm not BSing right now. I'm legitimately looking at this run or that arc a lot differently now because of what you just said.
Well, to me, it's a lot more layered than it was the first time I read it.
Dude,
I'm just seeing a lot more in it.
No, that's damn, Ryfen, you just blew my mind on that. So we're gonna talk about Vader Down, then we'll get a little mini LaRocca debate, and then we'll be done. Okay. I liked Vader Down a lot when it came out. I thought it was a good. It was publicized and promoted, I thought, well, and I thought that it was, then when I read it, I liked it, and I didn't like it more or less when I read it again. It was where I thought it was. I thought it was a solid, fun Star Wars story, and it gave me something that I didn't think I knew I wanted, which was that mirroring that you talked about. Which I was like, oh yeah, like it. And if you told me face value, oh yeah, Vader's comics basically going to be like a darker version of Luke's story, or Luke's characters will be a darker versions or whatever, right? I'd be like, stupid, dumb, next. Again, this is why you don't just, when you hear premises, you don't just toss it out and think it's dumb. Give things a chance, people, because look, I love this. Solo and Afra, this is, oh my god, I forgot about this when it came out.
Yeah,
I love this
so
much.
That's very in character for both of them.
Yeah,
perfect.
It's a great moment.
And I want to say, Chris, you brought up a great point that Afra is very modern, right, in a lot of different ways. But here's where I think that the High Republic dialogue, for instance, is so bad and it just does not work because it is modern and it's stupid. Yeah. In my opinion, I'm sorry. I'm Kevin Scott. All respect in the world, bro. You're a solid writer. I give you that. Your dialogue in the comics, I'm sorry. It's oof. But here, Afra, it treads on modern. It treads, and treading's not bad if you can pull it back. I think he pulls it back enough, but I feel like there's enough not Han Solo in her, but when I read this back to back, when I read this and see the Solo, her and Solo talking with each other, I thought she's perfect. I think she's perfectly fine how she is. She's a motor mouth, and you have to if you're doing lots of dialogue with her, she's going to be somewhat modern, I think, a little bit. I mean, I think if you made her more regal, it wouldn't work as well. So I can see that's where I think I would say, excuse me, Aphra treads on that modern dialogue, but it works because of the character. When everyone's talking modern, no, I'm good. Right. So Aphra I will say Gillen's a good enough writer where he makes her treads that line, very, very, on a fine line, but he writes everyone else so differently that it works for me. So, but anyway,
but you say she and Solo are not really the same, but in a very real sense, they are. They are both rogues. They're both fallen from purity, and they're both kind of a skeptic character. Solo is kind of our POV character in A New Hope because he is the guy that doesn't believe in the Force. He's the guy that doesn't, and we're that guy coming in. And I think she's a little bit of that. She's the one who's kind of outside looking in. She's more of our POV character. It's probably why they choose to make her a little more modern in her dialogue.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's a great point. Ryfin, that's why I have you on the show. This is genius. Come on, it's genius. I'm like, I like Star Wars because it's got lightsabers and like TIE fighters and stuff. And you're like, actually, if you look at the Rubik cube and look at kids are,
I thought that was interesting.
No, it's great, man. I love it. And listen, I'm gonna be fully honest with you all. And there's a big reason why I love Vader Down. There's a big damn reason. And if you guys can't figure it out after reading this first issue, which is a great fun, is fun as hell. But there's a reason why it's fun as hell. It's because of Mike effing Deodato, baby. Holy moly. Like this, I mean, come on. This looks incredible.
It's great looking.
Great? This is phenomenal. I admit I'm unabashedly a lover of Mike Deodato, man. I think he is just incredible. And I love Mike Deodato. He's amazing. I like Vader Down, I think, because it's a really fun, ridiculous premise of this Vader. It is showcasing Vader's talent as just a killing machine. And I never get tired of looking at that. But I think Vader Down, it gets overlooked a lot, to be honest. I think it's a good, solid story. And it's not deep. But one thing I forgot when I read it, guys, and I'm curious what you think. I don't want to spoil what happens, but someone shows up and I'm like, oh, I forgot they showed up. Okay. Were you surprised at the little surprise cameo? Do you remember who I'm talking about? I don't want to give it away. What's that?
Can you give us some clues?
Are you talking about a Wookiee, perhaps?
No. That's not a cameo. That's a full on, it's a story point, man. I mean, come on. Come on. We all know Black Chrysanthemum, which people will argue with me, like, Black Chrysanthemum's so much bigger than Chewbacca. I'm like, he's not that much bigger. Give me a break.
He may be bigger than Sotamo, but he's not bigger than Mayhew. How's that?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, No, the character that shows up, I don't want to spoil it because it's not that big of a spoiler, but I was surprised. It's a person
flipping through it.
Oh God. Okay. Let's just say this. You've seen them very, very recently in A New Hope. Just say that. That's good. That's a good way. You see him in A New Hope. And I did not expect him to show up again in this comic book.
Darth Vader.
Gotta hate you.
He's in A New Hope. He's in this as well.
Anyway, just leave it at that. If you guys are curious, go read the goddamn story. It's great. You won't regret it. I think so anyway. The premise is really ridiculous. I love how I just love Vader Down because it's kind of ridiculous. And what happens in this issue by itself, the alpha issue, which I love calling things alpha, by the way. It's so good. It's so ridiculous. And Deodato just blows it away. Go read the comic, people. You can probably get it on Hoopla. It's on Marvel Unlimited. Comixology probably has it for like $5 on the whole thing. It's worth reading. It's so good. Go buy the trade. It's good. I love it. Yeah, Deodato's art's incredible. Chris, you liked Vader Down the first time, right?
I did, yeah. And
you liked it more the second time, you said?
I think so, actually, yeah. I mean, the first time I read it, it was more like, oh, this is just so badass. Seeing Vader be a badass. And
never wrong with that. Never wrong with seeing Vader being bad.
You get to see him be a badass in outer space, and you get to see him be a badass down there and kill everybody. And it's funny because Scott was saying earlier, right? Like, you don't want Vader to go, you don't want to root for a guy who's just really evil, but he's got to knock up some wins, right? So, in this story, when he's going up against Luke and the big three, that he's not going to win. But, if he takes out like 1,000 rebels or whatever, it's like, okay, well, at least that's cool. At least he gets something out of it, right? He gets to look like a total badass.
Yeah, exactly.
And I honestly think, rereading it, I was like, this miniseries exists really for two reasons. One, it's to show that Vader is a total badass and he could wipe out that many people. And then also I think it was really just to pit the heroes against their
yes.
dark side foils, basically.
Absolutely.
Droids versus droids, Luke versus Vader, Chewie versus Wrecker Santon, Han and Leia versus Afra. So, and it was all really fun to read, right? Like, the 000 knocking out Luke and then seeing R2 just, take him and beat him.
Oh my gosh.
And seeing Leia deck Afra. The heroes are going to come out on top, but seeing how it plays out, it made it just fun to read. It was really fun to read. And I think you're right. It existed for a reason, and that reason is 1000% acceptable. And I have no problem giving the fans something that's like just it's candy, right? This is not something. If you want to put food with this, I wouldn't call this the main course. This is a Blizzard at Dairy Queen, and it's the best goddamn thing you can eat. It's a Big Mac.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, to me, this is dessert. But this is dessert that, like, you're just like, oh god, I love it so much. It's like you just don't care. You just love it. You don't care what's bad for you. You're gonna gain 8 pounds from eating it by itself. You're love it, man. I mean, seriously, this is a fantastic story. It's not, my buddy Chris, who's obviously on the podcast or the show with me, obviously my co-host. I love him. One of my best friends in the world. He loves The Last Jedi. I did not love The Last Jedi. He does not really like Rise of Skywalker. I will defend and love Rise of Skywalker forever. And he talked about how Rise of Skywalker is candy and that TLJ is meat. I 1000% disagree with him, but I love the analogy of this. To me, this is not necessarily candy, but I would say the Blizzard ice cream with like chunks of like Reese's peanut butter cup is a great example of this Vader comic series, because, or as far as Vader Down, it's great. It's fantastic. Diodato's art is just ugh. Oh, it's not Diodato. Sorry. Yeah. Ugh, so good.
And the cool thing about this is that it does a kind of classic crossover.
Yes.
Which is that by the end, something has changed for both stories. And in this case, it's Afra has moved from the Darth Vader comic to the Star Wars comic. And to really get that story, you've got to read, Vader Down. So that's just a classic.
And one day we'll I'm not sure we'll read all of Jason Aaron's Star Wars comics, but I think he also had a pretty darn good run on Star Wars. They both had, I thought, a pretty strong starts and for the most part, like flourishes. I mean, Sonic, I love Sonic's character. So yeah, Jason Aaron wrote this dialogue, by the way. That's all. This is all Jason Aaron, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because Diodato was doing Star Wars, and then he wrote. Jason Aaron wrote all the Star Wars issues. The Roca did, like we talked about. He kept doing the Darth Vader comic books, and he did. And Gillen did all those issues. And look at this. This is all Diodato. Oh man, this is so good. This is so good. And I like these characters a lot more this time. I will say they landed for me way more. Ryfin, Vader Down. Any last thoughts?
Yeah. Really pretty art, but
Watch what you say, sir.
No, I'm telling you, it's a 2-issue story that went on for 6.
Stop it.
And Chris mentioned that there was the one change that could have been done in 1 issue by the end of it. Part of my problem with it was there is so much interesting stuff, and we have Thanoth out there that we're worried about. We've got all the schemes that have been laid, and all of a sudden it just all goes away for this.
Stop it.
And I like this, and I like the art, but that's what kind of frustrated me rereading it, was everything got put on hold for this.
For good reason.
God, that's pretty.
All right. Okay, so we are done with Vader Down. I think most of us liked it. We obviously liked it more than the Elder Statesman. He doesn't like candy. He wants fine wine with his Star Wars. I get it. I see how it is.
I love candy. I was.
This is not fucking war. What does it have?
You got to remember, I like candy. All things in moderation.
Fair enough.
That's you know,
hey,
that's the lesson I've had to learn over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Mr. Rifen, we both learned this over the years. We're partners together, sir. I mean, come on. All right, so wrapping up before we let this has been a blast as always. Crap. You were talking, Mr. Rifen, about swiping of LaRocca. I forgot. I don't have the page, but LaRocca's been known to swipe, steal, what have you. I can't defend him on that necessarily. Okay, I want to be
well. Here's the thing. I think for the most part, when he does it, it's done well and right. The one time I reached out and complained to you was a shot from Vader down that is horrible because what he swiped from was the moment.
I think Diodato. Hold on. I think I know which issue you're talking about.
This is Hold on. That's a dog.
Show us again. I think you meant to send it to me. I think I forgot to upload it, but go to the. That looks like Diodato, I thought.
Okay, it might be. All I said was this.
Is that Diodato? Chris, do you know? Hold on. I got Vader down here. Keep talking.
Whoever did it, my problem with it is that they took this moment, which is the moment when Luke's entire world is undone, and that is clearly what showed on his face at that moment, and put it in the place of him getting clocked in the head with a gun. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't. It's not. Again, when they take from these moments and they reuse them, repurpose them, that's fine. But I just thought this one was just wrong. I also don't understand why the gun's flying at his head like that, and his other gun's just kind of floating in the air. But
that's dramatic effect, man. Dude, I'm almost positive that's Diodato. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, I think that's a bad swipe.
That's
the only swipe I'm complained about in the whole reread. It's the only swipe that I went, and there's a lot of swipes that I recognized. There's a lot that I recognized.
Yeah,
but I'm okay with that. And it's familiar, so I'm okay with it.
Okay.
But that one is wrong.
Yeah. It's from Star Wars 14.
Yeah, and I love Diodato. Listen, LaRocca goes too hard in the face stuff in Star Wars after Vader, and it gets distracting to a fault.
I think that's why, but so much of his cast is either like Vader or they're aliens or they're droids, and I think that for me reading it and thinking about that, I felt like I was like, it's okay.
Look at this. This to me worked. Like, Mr. Rifen, look at this, sir. Like Jabba, obviously, Return of the Jedi, right? Yep. Obviously, bottom Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Well, it was all probably, but I don't mind it. Like this to me is fine because look at the storytelling here, guys. Like this is not like you could trace this, sure, okay, LaRocca traces, okay, but to me, a good comic book artist isn't just a good artist who can just draw purely. It's storytelling. You can't trace this storytelling. I'm sorry, you can't.
No, and I'm good with this one.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. But people listen. I'm not. My buddy Adam, who will hopefully be on in a couple weeks here for the Prey post Prey top 5 comics to read after Prey next month, which I'm very excited to do. Adam, we reviewed the Alien series, the first arc, issue by issue, and he took LaRocca to the coals, man. I mean, this guy, he roasted him and showed me things that he basically stole, like designs from for stuff that artists, let's be real, comic artists have been doing for years. And I was listen, I can't defend it.
Do you know how many paperback novels that I saw over the years that have stolen and repurposed imagery from the original Battlestar Galactica for the cover? I mean, it used to become it was a game for me when I'd go to the bookstore every time to see if I could find the latest novel that stole Battlestar Galactica images.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all. Well, all I'm going to say is this. All I'm going to say is that I'm not going to defend him swiping and stealing from, the design things and whatnot. What I can't defend that. That's not right. Or whatever, right? The problem is when he's the reason LaRocca is so good, or he's efficient. He hits deadlines, and he's really good. And when you're on tight deadlines, you're gonna take things and be like, "Oh, I use this corridor, I use that." I'm not saying it's right, but it's just reality. But like I said, you can teach, you can trace, you can argue. I'll give you, sure, he traces, okay, whatever. But you know what? When you're doing, not Diodato, he's really good. When you're doing stuff like this is good storytelling, and you're not going to get good storytelling from tracing. Sorry, it's not going to happen. So you can tell me he sucks all you want, but you know what? I'll take him as a storyteller any day of the week. So, Chris, what do you have to say about the LaRocca swipe, art kind of in general?
It's not Guru FX, so I'm down with it. I'm fine.
Guru, I barely know these people's names anymore. I don't even know these people anymore, man. I don't know.
See, and back up on that other one. That's it's almost a play on the episode 1 poster.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh,
I love it.
God, so wrapping up, guys. I gotta lie, I love this series, man. I mean, the Vader comics have been all great, and they're all phenomenal. I mean, I thought this was like number 3 by far. I may have to wait and see what Pac does with Vader. It's been good. I mean, I think it's been better than this, but barely. But that's saying a lot because this series is really good. Pac's doing some really interesting things over there too, but Soul is by far the best in my opinion. But that being said, man, Gillen, I think he set the table, and set the standard for Vader in comic books. And honestly, maybe for outside of the films. I don't know.
He was also the first one who was really tasked with, you're going to do an ongoing series and Vader is your hero. He was the first one who had to succeed and do it. He's the first one who had to figure out how to do it. So I think he gets points for that.
Amen to that, man. That's a really good point. Soul had the benefit, I think, and again, Soul is my favorite Star Wars comics ever written. He had the benefit of starting after Revenge of the Sith, so there's a lot of leeway of him learning, right? Whereas Gillen, you had to take Darth Vader, like you said, Chris, you had to take him down a notch, but do it. He did it not the obvious way, like I'm gonna beat the crap out of you and make you show you how evil I am. Which again, I think you need to have that eventually, which Pac does, but what he does in this series is show you from how intelligent Vader is. He's not like the smartest guy ever, but he puts himself in situations where he's like, oh crap, how am I going to figure this? But he does. But Gillen, he interweaves and shows you how intelligent Vader is without being always the Thrawn character of I'm so smart. I outsmart everyone. It's my superpower. No, he finds creative ways to get out of situations. And I love that. And that's what Vader is to me.
I looked at this vase and now I know how to defeat every army from that planet.
It's a little tiresome. There's a reason why I have not read very many Thrawn books from the new canon novels. Woo!
Yeah, that premise just doesn't sit right with me at all. Doesn't make any sense. And
I just I'm going to end my last thing to say. I'll let you guys all have the last word and pimp some things out. This last part of the first issue. And I'm not spoiling. I don't want to spoil it, but if you just know, I'm giving this out of context. Out of context, it's still rad and amazing. In context, when you read this, oh man, I remember it hit me like a ton of bricks when I read this. And this is again great comic book storytelling. How the first issue ends with this page. It's beautifully written, and this is why I love the medium of comic books, because this is where you end on, and it's goddamn perfect. So, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but oh god, so good.
Oh yeah.
Thought about this when he was living with the Tuskens later.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about legitimately, like, would they bring up Vader doing that, slaughtering him? I don't think why. This is why I want and more I like when things are connected like this, when and I think they've done a good job of interweaving the comic books and the novels together. I think Boba Fett and Mandalorian are great examples of that, honestly. And I don't, you can say what you want about the quality of the series, but I think I love them and I think they're good. And yeah, so really one more time, I want to do this one more time before we go. I didn't delete it, did I? Damn, I think I did. No, I want to do one more X-Men theme, but I took it out. So, oh well, I can't do it. But anyway, yeah, guys, I love Vader. Just go read these comics; they're great. Yeah, we went long, but I'm sorry, guys, but I couldn't help it. We have having such a good stuff.
We did. I mean, we did over 30. Well, we did about 30 issues, counting the annual and Vader Down tie-ins.
Yeah.
We did about 30 issues. I mean, we may have underserved the series.
So, but we did it on purpose though, because now people can read and really get into the meat of the story. We didn't spoil much, I don't think.
Well,
so.
no, I was going to say, not only did we not spoil it much, but we went an entire hour and a half talking about this series, and we really never got into Thanos at all. And he, to me, is one of the most intriguing parts of the entire series.
Chris did a little bit. We forgot his name though.
Tiny little bit, yeah.
Yeah, of course. The always statement has to be like, "Let me show you how you kids do it." Hold on, Thanos. Hold on, let me get my list. Thanos, the guy. You started his name off, everybody. I love doing these shows, guys. This is so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
So next month we haven't figured out what we're gonna do, but I'm assuming it's gonna be probably Andor related. So, and it's not gonna be probably next month. It'll probably be technically September, but it'll be almost 4 weeks. It'll be around that time. So, because unless you guys are busy, we'll figure it out. But August is busy for me. But we'll figure something out. But we'll probably do some Andor Rebels related. I say Rebels, not the show, but Rebels, Alliance related. We'll discuss afterwards. But yeah, guys, I had a blast reading these comics with you guys. Yeah. Chris, I'll let you have the first word here. Closing thoughts, and where can people find you at?
So you can find me at File0 on Twitter. Closing thoughts, man. It's just a damn good. It's a damn good series.
Man.
If you're all interested in Vader and Star Wars comics, it's a great place to start. Honestly, it comes without any baggage. It comes with all you need to see is the first movie, and you get real good characters out of it too.
Yeah, man, it's super. And that's the thing that Gillen I think has done. I think better than I think most people have. Even Soul is introduced really interesting characters and fun characters that kind of lasted, to be honest. I mean, 000, Dr. Aphra, the princess character that he brought in, I think that she had a good, I don't love his run on Star Wars as much as Vader, but I liked what he did with the character for the most part in the Star Wars series. But yeah, Gillen, he's a damn good writer, man. He's a damn good writer. But yeah, Chris, thank you for jumping on and taking time away from your family.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Ryfin, Elder Statesman.
Yeah.
Last words. Where can people find you?
Last words are: this is, if you're going to read Vader in comics, if you love Vader, and look, he's my favorite character. I mean, there's so much to love. So many, there's tens of thousands of characters, literally, in Star Wars. But this is my favorite, and this is so I am always interested and committed to seeing him done right. And this is the start of a series that really does him right.
Yeah. Good, well said.
Definitely check it out. As far as me, I'm hanging around. I'm on Twitter. I'm Ryfin. One day there'll be a My Star Wars story coming out. I'm on 2 radio stations at the same time now because that's our role. So yeah, it's all right. They've added Savannah. I'm on Brunswick and in Savannah. So if you need to hear that, you can hear it. And I got an extra hour out of it too. So.
Nice. I kind of every time I hear the word Savannah, I'm going to go really deep cut here. Okay. So I'm sorry. I always think of the 90s show, Savannah. That was only on.
Oh, yeah. It's like a WB show.
Yeah. I was really into that redhead, man. I was really into that redhead when I was a kid. Oh,
nice.
Smoking. And then she showed up randomly. I was watching Better Call Saul, and she's just a random, not an extra, but she has a small, little small appearance. I went, it's that really hot redheaded chick from Savannah. And she got way older. So it looks good. Nothing wrong with it. But yeah, Savannah. It was a very risque for me as a kid. Let's say that. Yeah. So go you, Ryfin. Go being on Savannah in that old TV show. Yeah, I love these comic books. If you love Kenobi, check it out. Yeah, follow Comic Binge on Twitter and on Instagram. If you look up the Comic Binge, it'll be on there somewhere. So in some form or another, follow us there. Hit like, subscribe if you haven't already. Again, everyone who's been subscribing lately, thank you so much. Super appreciate it. On our way to 1,000, and I want to eventually get there and be able to monetize a little bit so I can put some money back into this eventually because things are expensive. But yeah, that's just people feel obligated. I appreciate it. And follow me on Twitter at Hermit22 with 2 N's, aka P Thug. And again, next month we might have 2 Star Wars episodes. One with me and potentially another guest, which I'll announce later. But definitely with these guys, we'll always have a monthly episode. Whoops, this episode, or hopefully we can if we can make it work. But guys, super appreciate you. And yeah, so since Chris isn't here, I'll always say read more comic books. See you guys.